and welcome to Game Day Preview with myself and AGT. You've been a busy boy this week in the studio, haven't you?
I have been, yeah. Travelled down from Liverpool last night after an amazing derby day on Monday.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm here until Monday. You've got me every day.
Wow, we are very, very lucky.
You are.
We're going to talk about Liverpool in a little bit, but let's focus our attention on last night. Of course, Manchester City beat Arsenal. It takes City to the top of the Premier League table. They aren't same points, but it's the goal difference that counts sometimes. What did you make of last night?
Oh, it was a great game to watch. I think Arsenal probably come away from last night thinking they should have been more clinical, and they're going to absolutely kick themselves when they watch back the mistakes that they made.
Yeah.
We haven't really seen too many defensive errors from Arsenal this season leading to goals, but you could argue that all three of them were mistakes last night. I mean, listen, is it overreactionary to suggest that they're now out of the title race? I think so. But mentally, that shift now that City have got over them in terms of... I mean, listen, Arsenal still do have a game in hand, let's not forget that. But it's away at Aston Villa, and it's the early kick-off. It's Unai Emery and good evening.
Good evening.
So he's gonna absolutely be on top of them and trying to get his players to suffocate them. But I don't think they're out the race. I think that would be harsh to say.
But they're still technically joint top, if you want to look at it that way, based on points. Look, Arsenal have lost their last 2 away games in all competitions. I guess this is like 3 kind of on the bounce in general, though.
4, really, you could argue.
Yeah, you're right. It could be. It is technically 4. But do you think that Emery and Villa, because they are quite inconsistent, Aston Villa. I know it's at home, but do you think they can get one over? Because Arsenal are going to want to be looking to bounce back, aren't they?
Arsenal don't have the best record, really, when it comes to travelling to Aston Villa. I think this season they've done well in the early kickoffs, but Villa, knowing that Arsenal are having a bit of a blip at the minute, as I said, they're going to be right on their necks from minute 1. And it's how Arsenal deal with that. It's how you can now show that winning league mentality by bouncing back. We've seen Man City do it, we've seen Liverpool do it in the past. Arsenal have never really been in this position, so a lot of the content that I saw last night I did feel was reactionary, because this is what happens when you're going for the title against City. One week you're up, next week you're down, and it's all about what counts up here. Yeah. And if Arsenal don't show that against Villa, then I would start to worry for them, because that would be 5 games, and that would become a bit of a habit there.
Yeah.
And obviously winning is a habit, and that's what City are on at the minute. Arsenal need to pick up points to kind of mentally get themselves back in that position where they can go head to head with City. But that was such a massive victory last night mentally for them, because it's just shifted the power a little bit now.
Do you think that could potentially take its toll on Arsenal or not? Do you think this is the time, and this is not me saying, Arsenal fans, before you come for me, that you're about to bottle whatever, but just looking at it, do you think that this might rattle them just a little bit?
We'll see. Time will tell. They haven't necessarily been in this position for how long?
Yeah.
I mean, the players that were involved in the last league run, I guess, against Leicester, I doubt any of them are still there anymore. They're missing Gabby Jesus massively. I would maybe even start Trossard up front in a 3 against Villa. But we'll see, because this is, again, it's such a mental test for Arsenal now. Let's see how strong you are. Let's see if you really want this league. Let's see how clinical you can be. Let's see if you can shut up those home fans after 20, 25 minutes. But I hate to say it, after being 8 points clear, I did mention on the stream last night, I know you're rubbing your hands because Aston lost. But I did say mid-February, start of March. It's that age-old that saying that we all know and love.
Titles are made and lost, really.
Well, exactly.
Actually, there's a message here in the chat from Addy who said, "I've been saying since early doors to Arsenal fans, wait until mid-Feb. I usually say Feb first, given past seasons due to the World Cup. The hype from then was insane, far worse than any fan base."
Well, they haven't really been the same since before the World Cup, you could argue. We haven't really seen the Arsenal that we've known in the latter half of 2022 since then.
Someone said, do I need to be hosting today? Listen, I'm not saying anything. I'm just calling it as it was last night. I'm just calling it as I was last night. I won't say anything.
You were at Chris Brown last night,
exactly.
Abbi. Let's not. Yeah, you just watched the highlights then.
Thank you.
So I agree with you. Actually, you can't be that invested in it, because you were probably throwing your bar at Chris Brown last night.
Correct. I was not. It was too far back. But anyway,
you tried. Couldn't reach.
Ollie Watkins has scored in 3 successive league games for the first time time since August 2018. Do you think he could pose a threat to Arsenal? I mean, Arsenal fans have actually been saying that maybe Saliba hasn't been the type of player he was before the World Cup.
Gabriel's poor last night as well, I have to say. Is he that man? Well, look at the players around him that are feeding him. You've got Buendia, who's had a decent season. He's keeping Felipe Coutinho out of the team. You've got Leon Bailey, who I'm a big fan of. He's become a lot better recently. But it is a bit of a worry because, I mean, Haaland hadn't scored in 4 games last night, and he made light work of Gabriel. He threw him around like a rag doll last night. He ragdolled him. He was little broing him, pushing him away. So if Ollie Watkins watched that game last night, he's probably rubbing his hands thinking, let me go and target Gabriel and get amongst the goals. But then, I mean, their performance against City was far from embarrassing. I actually thought they could have maybe even drawn that game. It was a real fight for the first kind of half, and even Coutinho got on the pitch and started rattling 35-yarders that Edison had to tip over the bar. So if can Coutinho pick up the pace, and can he pick up some form and start feeding balls into Watkins? They've obviously lost Ings. So a lot of the focus will be on Watkins to carry on this goal scoring spree that he's on at the minute.
Did you think that Manchester City last night looked like they are in the race for the title?
Yeah, I mean, you can't count them out. I wouldn't say it was vintage City. The goals, obviously they were pounced on by City from Arsenal mistakes, but the goals were I mean, you said it yourself, that Grealish goal was very good counter-attacking football. I don't think they really got out of third gear last night. Again, I wouldn't say they necessarily created loads of chances through their own doing. It was more they were just clinical when they pounced on those mistakes. But yeah, we're starting to see, I mean, they're putting a good run of form together now, but they got Forest away at the weekend, so that's a tough game.
Yeah, we're going to look at those in a sec. What's your prediction, though, for the Villa game?
Oh, I'm sorry, Arsenal fans. I'm going to go for a 2-1 Villa win.
Okay.
Sorry.
I'm going to go... I don't like to predict Arsenal losing because usually it doesn't happen. So I'm going to sit on the fence. I'm just going to go for a draw.
Score draw?
Yeah.
1-1, 2-2? 3-3 thriller? 4-4?
No, I'm tempted to go for... a 1-1, actually.
A 1-1.
Yeah, I'm tempted to go for that.
Don't you feel like these early kickoffs, they always under-deliver?
Always. I hate when Tottenham are an early kickoff. We always lose. But actually, let's have a look at Manchester City. They are away at Forest this weekend as well. They'll be buzzing off that win. They have been a little bit inconsistent over the last few weeks. They lost to Tottenham somehow. But since then, it seems that it's been a little bit of a catalyst for them, don't you think? And they look, for me, just from watching, obviously, the highlights from last night rather than the full game, even in those highlights, I could see it did look a little bit more like they were playing the type of City football that we are used to seeing.
Yeah. I think they'll be... saying that, I think they still will be fairly lucky to get out of their 3-1 winners. Maybe that didn't totally reflect the game, but listen, Forest is a very, very difficult place to go to, as Liverpool know. Already lost there this season. What was the Spurs score? You won there, actually, didn't you, I think? At Forest?
Yeah, that was early on in the season.
Yeah, I think Kane scored a pen.
That was when Richarlison was doing kick-ups.
Yes, it was that game. Again, they haven't lost at home this season, or they have, but it's been fairly rare for Forest, and they're basically relying on that home form to keep them in the league. I think actually they deserve a little bit more credit than they've been getting.
They've been doing really well, and Steve Cooper, it looked a little bit edgy at the start of the season.
Ask all of us at DR, in October, November, who are we saying would go down? It was Forest. Yeah. Again, made a plethora of signings in January that they hope will somehow gel, even though there's just so many players to mention. Some of these guys that they've spent millions on can't even make the Premier League squad. It's true. Which is just mind-boggling. But realistically, quality-wise, well, I mean, they'll be buzzing if they can stay up. Yeah. And someone like Leeds or Everton go down, they won't be able to believe that, considering the start to the season that they had. But again, the quality, will it just shine through? They're going to be relying on the crowd to be right on top of them. They're going to be relying on Brennan Johnson to be rattling those City defenders. They still don't really have a preferred back 4 or 5 at the minute, City. It's very chop and change. So, I mean, Forest might get one, but the way Haaland's playing, I know he's gone 4 games without a goal, but I reckon it was his best performance last night for City that I've seen anyway. So I'm going to go with a 2-0 City win, which again, if Arsenal lose that one in the 12:30, this is at 3 o'clock. at this point, the City players will know what to do. I mean, they're obviously going to try and win the game anyway, but if Arsenal lose or don't pick up 3 points, City can start pulling away a bit.
Yeah, they can. It's going to be very, very interesting. And just a good stat for you here, that this is Manchester City's first Premier League game kicking off at 3 p.m. on a Saturday of the season. They have won their last 14 away league games kicking off at that time. The last time they lost on the road in a 3 o'clock kickoff was September 2013 at Aston Villa.
Great
so that's
stat,
a good
Abbi.
stat
Thank
for
you
you.
for that.
I think this is a City win. I'm going to go 2-0.
Going with me.
Yeah.
Bentner banter in the chat. People forget that for the first 3 months of the season, City were going ahead of Arsenal every Saturday, and Arsenal will go on the top on Sunday. It's not over. Thank you for the super chat.
It is not over.
Of course it's not. And Marshall just now says Arteta doesn't know how to change tactics during games. Pep changed and won the game. That's why Arsenal are not going to win the league. And Two Beast with another super chat. What tier City squad is this compared to seasons before? I wouldn't say it's their best squad.
No, I agree with you on that.
Just because of the massive names that they lost in the summer. But they obviously brought the big man in.
Yep, absolutely. And it's going to take a while to completely, I think, adapt the way that they want to play with him. But I think that's no different from maybe
32 goals.
Yeah. Not too bad.
They've gelled fairly well, haven't they? Let's give them some credit.
Exactly. Let's have a look at Wolves against Bournemouth quickly. What do you think about this one? Bournemouth still not looking like convincing to me that they might stay up? Or
Wolves are looking good at the minute.
Yeah, Wolves are.
They're starting to gel. Lopetegui is a very well-versed manager, and he's got players around him who are young, who are hungry. You've got a great mix of experience in there as well. Amazing result against Liverpool, as we know, so Wolves will be looking to carry on that very good home form. They are home, right, in this one? Bournemouth away, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm going to go with the Wolves win. I think Bournemouth, even though they've huffed and puffed under Gary O'Neill, who used to be under-18 manager at Liverpool, I still think they're going to be going down. So I'm going to go for a Wolves win. Just seeing there, Diego Costa could make his 100th Premier League appearance in this match. 52 goals in 89 games for Chelsea. Hasn't scored this season, but 52 goals in, let's say he gets to 100 games on Saturday, it's 1 in 2.
Well, to be fair, we know that Wolves don't. That's their biggest problem. They don't score that many goals, do they?
They did against Liverpool.
They did against
But they
Liverpool.
are still the lowest scorers in the league, Abbi.
They've
so
only
you've got a
scored
good
7
point.
goals in the second half of the
not great.
Premier League games this season. That's fewer than any side. But actually, 5 of those 7 goals have all come under Julian Lopetegui. So he's doing something right. He's definitely doing something right. What was your score for that one?
Ooh, I'm going to go with a... What do I reckon? This is a tough one. 2-1 Wolves.
2-1 Wolves. Yeah, I think that's a Wolves win. Maybe like slightly closer. I'm going to go 1-0.
1-0.
1-0. Everton against Leeds. Now, this is a big game. Obviously,
relegation battle.
Everton are coming off the back of that loss the other night. What did you make of Everton the other night?
Awful.
Yeah?
Awful.
Would you give them a
Awful
compliment
football.
if you thought?
No, if they played well, I would say if they really took the game to us, but they kind of just flapped it. I mean, they tried every old trick in the book. It wasn't good enough. And they just looked poor. I mean, we were singing, the ball, they've hardly touched the ball. Played the shite on a Monday night, they hardly touched the ball. So only singing
What great
songs like
song.
that.
Who wrote that?
Me. So I'm going to go with... it's difficult because Leeds are just as bad as Everton at the minute. There's nothing really to separate them.
Well, what is going on at Leeds at this moment in time?
Still don't have a manager. I thought they would have sorted that out, really.
It's a bit interesting that they would
Already.
sack Jesse Marsch. I mean, Jesse Marsch is literally going to be in a new job by the time that Leeds have
Somewhere,
even
yeah.
got
I
a
mean,
new
turned
manager.
down, or talks have broken down with Southampton, who had apparently been tracking him for 5 years.
Yeah.
Since he's been at
Red
various
Bull.
clubs
Yeah.
in Germany. But I reckon Everton at home might just have a little bit too much for Leeds. But
We know that
again,
Leeds concede. We know that for sure.
Oh, for sure. They've got more holes in than a broken dartboard. But at the same time, Everton, with that fan base they've got there, if they're not toxic, they can get on top of Leeds and try and suffocate them. This game for me is all about the opening half an hour.
Yeah.
If Leeds can shut them up, I reckon Everton, that crowd could turn. But if Everton start well, it could be a long afternoon from Leeds. But both teams are looking to go down this season as things stand.
They are.
We said that about Forest, didn't we, in November? So
I think that
can change.
Talking in November is maybe different to talking at the end of February. Yeah, towards the end of Feb. It's a lot more serious. You've got less time to get yourself out. And also, Leeds don't have a manager, and they need to do something soon because Leeds have failed to win any of their last 3 Premier League games against sides in the relegation zone. They've drawn 2 and they've lost 1.
Not a good sign, that.
No, and these are the games you've got to be winning. You've got to be winning them. Prediction?
Ooh, it's a difficult one. I mean, we're obviously going to be doing this. We're actually doing the Saturday football show together for the first time.
I know, that's weird,
that would be really cool.
First time together.
So we'll be watching these together. But first half an hour, let me just jump into my Mystic Meg. Leeds get a goal. Fans turn on them. 2-1 Leeds.
2-1 Leeds?
Yeah,
you can't even do it.
I've just massively gone against what I've just said there. But 2-2.
All right.
2-2.
I could see it being a draw as well, but I'll go different. I'm going to go 2-1 Everton.
Tight game then, either way.
Up the toffees.
Tendy item, I'm going with AGT Leeds 2-1. I did just change it to 2-2. 2-1 Everton. That's not flex, says Jonathan Pearl.
It's not flex.
Oh, it's not?
No.
Flex is in Barcelona right now. And we are covering that Barcelona versus Manchester United game on DR Sports. And if they go 1 or 2 down, I will be calling flex. So definitely watch that.
Like they were calling Cecil last night.
Yes, Sophie got a call off expressions as well last night. Yeah.
Don't know why he's calling her. We lost as well.
I know.
Tina in the Super Chat said, are United in the title race and can they win the league? How do AGT and Abbi rate Ten Hag? We're going to talk about United in a little bit more.
Hold your horses, Tina.
Yeah, we will get into all the United goss. Let's have a look, shall we, at Chelsea, Southampton. Chelsea again coming off the back of a defeat to Dortmund. Southampton...
Again,
there's a lot of messy situations going on, isn't there?
There really is. That is a game that could be absolutely horrible to watch.
That could be boring as hell.
I wouldn't even want to watch that game, even if I was there. I mean, listen, Chelsea aren't in a good moment last night. Proved that. Poor performance, really. They did have chances, to be fair to them. They did create chances, but João Felix was massively unclinical last night, hit the bar. Maybe even should have had a hat-trick last night, Felix. At some point, this Chelsea team will click. It has to, with the money that they've spent. Mudryk will start becoming good, so will Enzo.
Did he look better last night?
Not Mudryk. Enzo looked decent, but for their goal, he was absolutely ragdolled by Agiyemi, who basically ran 60 yards on his own against Enzo and went round the keeper. I'm gonna edge a Chelsea win, but I would say if they don't win this game, or if they draw it, I think you're going to hear a lot more Potter outshout. Sophie last night even admitted, and she said, and I quote, Bowley needs to think about the manager now.
There's no way.
Which isn't really
There's no way they're getting rid of Potter. There's no way they're getting rid of Potter.
But if they lose this one, Ab, they're lingering.
They can't get rid of Potter.
They really are lingering in 10th if they lose this.
They've changed literally the whole of Chelsea. They can't get rid of Potter. Chelsea's Graham Potter has drawn 37% of his Premier League games as a manager. That's 50 out of 136. Wow. That's the second highest ratio of any manager with 100 plus games in the competition, just behind Alex McLeish.
Alex McLeish.
That's in all the clubs he's managed there in the Premier League. But they're not they lost last night. But in the Premier League, it's just a lot of draws. You don't think they can?
Many draws.
But there's a lot of new players. Like we say this kind of every week. Like that does take time to build and gel.
It's not a club you get time at though, man.
Well, I think that Todd Bowley might be doing something different this time. Here's hoping.
Well, we've put a poll up. Who wins this one? Chelsea, Southampton, or a draw? Do you know what? I'll go over Chelsea win.
It's going to be a Chelsea win. But let me tell you something.
They have to win.
They do. But even if they don't, they've got Tottenham the week after. So don't worry, Chelsea fans. You will win that.
You really just have given up, haven't you?
Oh, yeah. Anyway, right, moving on. Brighton against Fulham this weekend. Yeah, this is a bit of a contest, this one, don't you think?
Well, it's like battle for the Europa League places, this game at the minute. Brighton, very good team, as we know. Matoma on absolute flames right now. Do you know who I love for Fulham, though? Palhinha. He's an excellent player. For the money that they paid, why were Liverpool not in for him? Perfect Fabinho replacement. Anyway, I digress. This one, I think, because they're both so even this season, logic tells me that this was probably going to be a draw.
Yeah, you would think so.
Brighton, away from home, they're obviously a lot better at home. I'm going to edge a Fulham win in this one, you know.
Well,
just about.
Against no side has Alexander Mitrovic scored more goals than he has against Brighton. He's done 4 times in 5 appearances against them, so that puts them up. But we kind of have to talk about Mitoma as well, because he's been so influential for them, hasn't he?
Yeah.
He seems to be changing games on his own.
Yeah, I mean, he literally studied the art of dribbling at university, and he was playing for the university team 3 years ago. If Brighton hold on to him in the summer, I mean, they've got to lock him down to a big contract so they can, if they do sell him, make the most money possible. But knowing Brighton, they've already got the next Mitoma lined up.
Oh, yeah.
And probably the one after that
God
as well.
knows how much they paid for him. Nothing.
Well, it was like 3 mil, wasn't it?
Yeah, something like that. Well, I'm saying for the next one, just gets
they're
less and
going to
less
make
and less.
a big profit on him. I mean, again, come over to Liverpool.
Just nicking everyone's players.
Yeah.
But saying that, you mentioned that you think this could be a draw, but Brighton have faced Fulham more often without ever winning than they have any other opponent in the Premier League. It's one of those weird, like, box stats, isn't it?
Yeah, I can't really explain that one. Again, I'm still going for a Fulham win here.
Okay, I'm going for a Brighton win. Brighton win on that one. Brentford Palace. Brentford.
Interesting game, this one.
Draw last week.
The Greater London Derby. They're both.
We could call it the Greater London Derby.
Yeah, I mean, again, Palace under Patrick Vieira probably failed to disappoint a little bit this season.
I've been disappointed in them.
I mean, they started okay, but
especially how much we raved about them last season.
Yeah. That's the key.
But they also had someone like Conor Gallagher, and maybe that's, in a team for Palace, maybe that's the missing key. Obviously, I don't think Chelsea fans love Gallagher that much, but in a team like Palace, I think he was making a lot of things tick for them, and they missed that this season.
Yeah, they haven't really, since he's gone, got a midfielder. Maybe Will Hughes has stepped up a little bit this season, but they haven't really got a midfielder who can arrive late on the edge of the box and slam it in the top corner like Gallagher did for them a couple of times last season. So yeah, maybe just under par a little bit this season, Palace, but Brentford again, what a season they're having. You have to tip your hat massively to Thomas Frank. They've gone, how many games unbeaten now?
I don't know, I've lost count.
It's over 10, so Brentford to win.
They've been brilliant. And also Ivan Toney, we know how good he is. He's been directly involved in 7 goals in his last 7 Premier League games. That's 6 goals, 1 assist, and that's 58% of Brentford's total goals in these matches.
Yeah, no, exactly. The facts there don't lie. He is a bagsman. We're still kind of in the dark about what is going to go on with him.
He's going to be well, whatever does happen, it's likely to be some type of suspension and ban, and that's going to be a very big miss, isn't it, for them?
Couldn't really be a bigger miss for them apart from him. That's why they've got a couple of others who are still popping up with goals and coming off the bench, like this Sade kid. They've got Mbeumo, Wissa, who can kind of step up to the plate in the absence of him. It is not, of course, it's not Ivan Toney, but you know, we'll see what happens with him. But I am going to go with a Brentford win on this one. I'm going to go 2-1.
Okay. I think I'm also going to back Brentford. Now, let's have a look at Liverpool, shall we? This is going to be a really interesting game. Newcastle, Liverpool.
Yeah. Again, haven't lost at home this season, Newcastle. We're going to do a more in-depth preview on this game, myself and Matty Renton on the COP TV after, so make sure you check that one out. We won there last season. It was a scrappy goal from Naby Keita. It was 1-0, but a very tough game. Super close this season when they came to Anfield. There wasn't much to split us. Obviously, there was a very late goal from Fabio Carvalho, who I don't think's played much since, to be honest, weirdly enough. Listen, for Liverpool, this, if we did win this game, would be such a big statement. I think it would close the gap on Newcastle. It'd give us another 3 points. It would push us up the table, and that momentum that we could, if we did win, take into the Real Madrid game could be key. The other side of the coin is Liverpool go here, fail to disappoint. They're not clinical, don't take the chances, drop points, then it's almost back to square one for Liverpool, because although the derby night on Monday was fantastic, I loved it, you know, we felt like it was a massive reset in this stage of the season. If we go and don't follow that up with at least 3 points at Newcastle, then again it's going to feel like, oh, what a climax, an anti-climax almost. So I have heard that Luis Diaz is making movements in terms of coming back to training. He's not kicking the ball yet. He's more doing individual stuff on his knee.
And Jota was on the bench the other night.
Yeah, Jota came on the other night, looked a little bit cautious, didn't really fly into tackles as he normally does, which is understandable. But Darwin looked unbelievable. Mo Salah looked back to his best. It's the best game I've seen Mo Salah play in months. Months. And he was taking on players, he was shooting, it was great to see. But Nunes, Salah, Gakpo scoring as well.
Yeah,
let's not forget that.
Gakpo scoring.
Jota coming off the bench. Even Bobby Firmino came on.
So the thing is,
there's 5 strikers.
You might be getting some players back at the right time, and if you are going
Virgil will probably start this game.
Salvage something as well from this season, and this is the right time to do it. However, saying that, Liverpool have lost their last 3 Premier League away games.
Been really bad.
Yeah, the last time they lost 4 in a row on the road was in April 2012, and it actually was a 2-0 loss at Newcastle.
Yeah, I was at that game. It's horrible. I was actually at the 3-1 there as well. I've been to 2 losses.
Saying that, Newcastle draw a lot of games as well.
That's the thing that Liverpool can take a little bit of hope in, because especially with it being a later kickoff, there's more pressure on Newcastle, I think, to react to the 3 o'clock kickoffs and make sure that they get the points. I think Bruno probably will be back for them, which I'm not looking forward to. But like you say, they have drawn how many now?
They've drawn their
10?
last, I think it's 10 or 11. I think it might be 11,
Yeah, look, 10.
In the last thing, 11 draws.
4 draws in 5. So Liverpool have to take advantage of that. And I think with Newcastle going into the Carabao Cup final next week, then they might have their heads in that as well a little bit.
Absolutely, they might do. What was your prediction for that one, sorry? Obviously, you're going to back
massive.
Liverpool.
2-1 Liverpool.
2-1 Liverpool.
Bruno is out. He's still suspended. Thank God for
I
that.
think this might be a draw.
Okay.
I'm going to go 1-0 on this one, because the only thing with Newcastle is they don't really concede. So
they have got a very good defence.
Very
Nick
good
Pope,
defence.
Dan Burn. So it's going to be Mo Salah up against Dan Burn, little and large. Basically.
Yeah, basically. Right, moving on to Sunday. Let's talk about Manchester United, shall we? I say this every week, and I think that they are in a title race. Do you think they're in a title race?
I think you have to give them credit. Listen, they've done really well since Ten Hag's come in. There was a few massive blips, to be fair, at the start of the season, but now they've got this form. I think the results... Is this harsh to say that maybe the results have flattered them a little bit? Only say that because they've been very reliant on Rashford in terms of him scoring the goals.
Yeah.
I think maybe if he drops out of form, where are those goals going to come from?
You could say the same thing if you look at Tottenham. They're so reliant on
massively.
Kane.
If he gets injured, you're stuffed as well.
We're stuffed anyway.
Well,
yeah.
But no, I think if you ask the United players, they would definitely say they're not in a title race. But if you ask United fans, I think there's some of them that would maybe say, well, if you look at the table, we're not far off.
I think they're still saying no.
No, but that's what I was going to say. The table would say, well, you might just be on the edges of it. But even if they win this game, I still don't think United fans are going to get carried away and say that they're in a title race.
I don't think United fans would get carried away unless it was like the last game of the season and they say, yeah, we've been in a title race the whole time. So they want to take that cautious approach. And this season was kind of just a transition, and they're doing really, really well this season, and Ten Hag's been brilliant.
I have to say, Leicester, fresh after beating you 4-1.
Yeah. 4-1, that could have been more. They absolutely battered Tottenham. They really, really did. And I could see this being quite a high scorer.
Yeah, I mean, 4 goals against Tottenham, they're going to be buzzing going into this one. United away, always a tough game, as we know, but I think, if United can score first in this one, I think they'd win. Their record is very good when they score first in games, but Rashford... I mean, as many credits as you have to give him. I think it's 21 goals already this season. He's probably he's definitely going to get his best ever return in a United shirt since he started playing for them.
It's all about confidence, isn't it?
But again, look, the United fans in the comments are saying, no, we're not in a title race. We're not having that. We've had Casemiro and Eriksen out, so we haven't been playing that well, but still deserve to win. Such big losses. Casemiro, ridiculous red card. How did Connor Cody not get a red as well, by the way, for what he did to Robertson? But Eriksen, a massive miss. That midfield, could maybe Leicester get one over on them in that midfield? I don't know.
Well, I don't know. It is a massive miss for them, but I think Leicester are going to be full of confidence. Obviously, beating Tottenham, they beat Villa the week before that. They're scoring goals at the moment. Kelechi Iheanacho has been involved in 5 goals in his last 2 Premier League games for Leicester. That's 2 goals, massive. 3 assists, as many as he had in the previous 27 appearances. And James Maddison has been involved in 21 goals in his last 19 Premier League starts.
Do you know what?
Scored 13, assisting 8. He's never scored against Manchester United, though. But could this be the week it changes?
Maybe. Scored some really nice goals recently. And Iheanacho as well. They've kind of stopped relying on Vardy, and they're looking at Daka and Iheanacho to maybe pop up with some more goals, which they have been. Leicester, such a weird season this is. Because they've been maybe the worst team in the league for the first 2 or 3 months with Forest. They've had some massive results, but then they just for every great result they've had an absolutely awful result where you actually say, surely Rodgers has got to go, but he's clung on to his job.
I think there's been reasons why Leicester have been so poor, though. You know, they got hit pretty hard with COVID. Obviously, things that had happened with their chairman and various other things. But they didn't have the money necessarily to go and reinvest in the squad because
spend it all on the training ground.
Yeah, because of all of that. But the chairman is committed. He paid off a load of debts, didn't he, a couple of weeks ago? Yeah. And they've stuck with Rodgers because and I actually sometimes think it's better to stick with the manager, go through the storm, and then come out the other side. And I think that maybe we'll start to see a bit of a Leicester rebuild. Their hands have pretty much been tied because of various things off the pitch in the last few years, and they've done well to hang on to James Maddison, and however much they want to stick a price tag on him. But they are looking to win 3 consecutive Premier League games for the first time since January 2021.
Yeah, I'm going to go for a draw here, I'm going to go for a 2-2. I think they've got the massive potential to hurt United, but Rashford's on fire. It's how their defence copes with that. Have we read out this super chat from RM13? It says, Poch should not return. We need a project manager, but not Poch. That's too much history and emotion behind it. It's like getting back with your ex. Says RM13 about Tottenham. And now we are talking about Tottenham now. By the way, smash the like button. 2,000 of you in this stream right now. We need to get the likes up. Bring it up, people. Let's go.
Right, we will talk about Tottenham. London derby, Tottenham against West Ham.
Yeah.
I don't really ever want to talk about Tottenham anymore.
You going to this one?
No.
Why are you not going to this one?
I refuse to keep going at this moment in time. But I'm happy to support them at home.
But if you're happy to support them at home, yet you have a season ticket.
Yeah, I like to give some of my family the opportunity to go who don't get to go often.
She's playing that card on me, right? It's not because you don't want to support them.
No, my baby cousin, she's never been to a game before, so I said her and my cousin can go. Well, and I think that's generous.
Nice cousin. You are generous. You are. But there's a deeper issue there.
There's a big issue.
It's you don't want to go and watch your football team.
No, I don't want to go and watch my football team. And everybody knows how I feel about Tottenham. It's not necessarily about the team. It's about the owner. It's about the chairman. It's about everything. And yesterday we were linked with. We were linked with obviously I think it was the Iranian American guy consortium who wanted to potentially invest, and they said nope, we won't be taking any bids or anything unless the price is sky high. Now I think he wanted to offer something around 3 billion or something.
He's going to price himself out of it,
No. Daniel Levy will price himself out of it. Oh yeah, because it's happened in the past. Before the Saudis took over Newcastle years ago after the Champions League final, around that time they wanted to purchase Tottenham. They made a very good offer. Tottenham said they wanted something much higher. Bear in mind, we've also got debt from the stadium. And at the time, we were a far more attractive team.
Take the 3 billion?
I would. Yeah. Daniel Levy won't. But it's not about not loving my team. I love my team. But I refuse to keep supporting Daniel Levy and Enoch.
Fair enough.
And that's how I feel. Enough. So, my team will be there long after.
Abby's a crybaby. Cute, but a crybaby.
I'm not a crybaby.
I'm just reading out what he said. Abbi tired of Spurs, says Sefa.
I'm tired of it. There's no direction. There's no direction at the moment. Actually, we'll probably win because Conte's not there this week.
3.5 for a club that wins nothing, says Compost Smurf. Great name. Levy is not the problem. Enoch is.
He is part of Enoch.
Well, there you go. Also, Livingstone says most biased guy in the show, AGT, is just funny as reporter. He's hurt for real. I think he's talking about me saying that United are going to draw 2-2. But listen, if they do, come back.
Yeah. Anyway, let's look at West Ham. 4 of West Ham's last 5 Premier League victories against Tottenham have seen Mikel Antonio score. He always scores against us. It's super frustrating. What do you think about West Ham at the minute? They're on the brink of being you've got to get rid of David Moyes. It's got a little bit quiet, hasn't it?
Down a little bit now. They've had some decent results recently, but do you know what? This might be a bit of a horrible game to watch as well. I mean, I know you're not watching it, but
I will be watching it.
We watch it at home. But
to be fair, there are other reasons I'm not going this weekend.
In terms of quality, without Bentancur, who I have to say That is a massive loss, losing him for the rest of the season.
Oh yeah, I mean
Without
that is our aside from Kane, he is our best player, Bentancur. So that's a massive loss. There's no Basuma. I don't think there's any Basuma. No,
Basuma's out for a while as well.
Basuma's out for a while. What was I going to say to you? I think someone else is missing too. But what I was going to say the other night, what I did take from the Milan game, is that I thought Skip and Sarr, especially Sarr, I thought he looked very good.
In midfield.
And I was impressed with him.
It's a makeshift midfield.
It's a makeshift midfield, but from what I've seen of Sarr, he's had quite a few cameo roles already this season. But I'm impressed. I think there's definitely something there to build on. Which I've got to look for the positives at the moment.
This has got a draw written all over it for me.
No, this has got a West Ham win all over it. West Ham beat us all the time at home. They usually do.
Yeah. It was Antonio who scored in the first game between you guys at the stadium.
At the stadium. Yeah, I think last season we did. Yeah, we won at home last season.
In that case, if you're saying that, you know more than me about Tottenham, so
I just wouldn't back us to win. I just wouldn't back us to beat anyone at the moment.
1-0. Being a Spurs fan is pointless, according to Ashby.
You are right. I'm going to go.
You are correct.
I'm going to go with a 1-0 West Ham win.
1-0 West Ham.
To be fair, that's actually a bit harsh because do I really think we're only going to concede one goal?
I mean, try and be a little bit positive.
I can't. I've got no positivity about it. I just want the season to end. Sorry, I just do.
Facts.
I can't lie. Can't lie about it.
What's your prediction?
1-0 West Ham.
Oh, you said it. 1-0. There you go.
1-0 West Ham. Look, anything above, I'm pleasantly surprised. I don't want to have any expectation for Tottenham anymore because there's no point. Always let down.
You're really hurt, aren't you, man?
I'm not hurt.
Years and years of heartbreak.
I'm not hurt.
But there you go. There are our predictions.
That is our predictions for this week's
Premier League.
We'll see, because we'll be back together on Monday,
yes,
won't
we will.
To run through all of this.
Saturday and Monday, yeah.
See the damage. God, we got a whole weekend together. That's sweet. Very, very sweet. But you guys, hopefully your team does good this weekend. Let's see if Arsenal can bounce back. Let's see if City
now
can...
she smiles as soon as she mentions Arsenal.
Let's see if City can maintain their lead at the top of the table. And let's see if Manchester United can remain in this title race. Unspoken title race.
Yes.
But until then, have a good weekend and we'll see you on Saturday.
Take care.